Well, we just saw the film, and I have to tell you, it's an absolutely miraculous piece of eye candy.
Oh, well, thank you.
Absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
But what we're interested to know is take us through the process that you went to of developing this whole new world of Whoville.
Well, it really, we went back to the book and looked at the illustrations, and then we started looking at a couple of other books where
Dr. Seuss books?
Dr. Seuss books,
Okay.
where he had used who's, and other books where he had created sort of towns, because what we were doing was far more involved than would have been in the book. And our production designer, Michael Kornblith, who I'd worked with on Apollo 13 and some other films, he came in with a book featuring the work of the Spanish architect Gaudi.
Mm-hmm.
It's very whimsical, very strange, built around the turn of the last century, and it's practical. People live there, they work there, they have stores there,
but it still looks good.
But it looks cool
Yeah.
and very Seussian. In fact, we think that Seuss may have been kind of inspired by Gaudi's work. So we use that as a way to create, a world that you could believe actually existed.
I know that it was a long time getting this story to the screen.
Right.
What was it that you and Brian Grazer said or did to convince Audrey Giesel to change her mind?
I think it was the sort of simple approach. I had this idea that we should do the book, we should honor it, but the book's just that thick. It's just a tiny little fable, But I thought that it would be cool if for the third act of the movie, you let that be how the Grinch stole Christmas, and you let the first couple of acts of the movie be why the Grinch stole Christmas. And in a really modern, satirical, cool way, you could do a couple things. You could show the Who's being just way over the top about Christmas, and you could also understand why the Grinch was, living alone up in a cave with a dog, and make him a kind of modern, disenfranchised, neurotic guy.
Right.
And I thought we could get a lot of comedy out of that and some heart as well.
How involved was she in the actual process? Was she involved? Did you consult with her, or once she gave you the green light, you were off and running?
She read every draft and would always send a detailed memo back. The one thing that she was particularly rigid about was the narration, because we wanted to use, that great poetry from the book. And she said, please don't write new narration because look, this has to be an adaptation and an expansion of the story. But if you have new narration, people will think that Ted wrote that. And, that bothers me a little bit.
I want to keep it true to the book.
I want to keep it true to the book. Well, we did have to finally add some narration. And I explained that we needed to expand the story further, and Anthony Hopkins was going to do the narration, and it would be great. And she said, well, write it and send it to me. And she liked it.
If you had a special Christmas wish, what would that be?
Oh, well, for my family or for...
In general, you could be selfish, it could be for you, or if it could be for your family or for mankind.
Well, I'm going to go with the family. I'm hoping that this Christmas that, that it's one of those years where we all can wind up under one roof. It would be a great year.
Where will you be when the movie opens?
I'll be back home in Connecticut.
Excellent.
A good place for the holidays.